everybody? Welcome to Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast here on the Boss Rush Network. I am your host, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the wise Wisconsinite Mr. Jesse Douglas.
Hey, hey, hey.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
Just,
Oh, he was like waiting to say that all day.
I know.
This morning he woke up.
You could
He's
tell.
like, "Oh my God, oh my God, I can't wait to do this. It's gonna be so funny. It's gonna be so funny."
Yeah.
He's telling his wife this, and his wife is like, "All right, whatever."
That beautiful voice you hear is the noir filtered Stoy Jovic.
Corey, can you do something for me?
Sure.
Can you throw your hands up? Throw your hands up. Now move in. Now move out. Hands up. Now hands down. Now back up. Back up. And tell me what you're gonna do now.
Wow, I hate you.
Now breathe in. Now breathe out. Okay. Hands up. Now hands down.
Breathe out. Breathe in.
I don't like this.
And then you got to keep rolling afterwards. So,
You know, that joke was cool 6 years ago when I started podcasting, Stoy.
hey, I'm bringing it back, baby. I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back. I'm sorry.
This is the last time I bring you back.
Oh, fair enough. I'm just gonna back up. So, ordinarily, initially I wanted to like come up with like some really cool like DMX quotes for like every episode. Like he doesn't have a lot of good ones.
No.
A lot of them are pretty bad.
No.
DMX was not a nice man.
Speaking of rappers from the 90s and 2000s, did you see who's doing the Super Bowl halftime show?
Yeah. Bro. Eminem,
No, I did
Dre, Eminem, Dr. Dre. Who else?
Snoop Dogg,
Snoop
Kendrick
Dogg, yeah.
Lamar, Mary J. Blige. And the rumor is that they're going to hologram Tupac at one point to do California Love.
That'd be kind of cool.
Because I think it's what, in L.A.? It's in L.A. this year, right? I think. I don't remember.
That would make sense.
We're going to say yes.
West Coast.
Yeah. Anyways, how's everyone doing? Everyone feeling good? Feeling the weekend? The weekend is almost over, which is sad. But also, we have to look forward to next weekend. But we also have to look forward to this podcast, guys. This podcast is wonderful Xbox podcast we're all a part of, and you are a part of. It's wonderful.
We out here.
It's wonderful.
Yep.
So
Look forward to it every week.
as do I. I ate too much. I'm wearing my fat guy hoodie, guys. I gotta tell you, I probably ate like enough for 3 humans this weekend.
I think your microphone actually picked up the stomach pat.
It did.
So
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, you can hear it.
I'm not putting that in post, guys. That's all natural live recording right there.
Yeah, this is real. Nothing gets cut.
So
We don't. Yeah.
should have cut my portions. That's what I should have cut.
Oh yeah, we were talking right before recording how I ordered toppers and topper sticks for myself because my wife was out gallivanting with her friend too, and I was like, I'm just gonna stay in, order pizza, play some video games, and yeah, it was a good Saturday night for me. I don't care.
Cool. How'd that go?
Yeah.
How'd your video game playing time go?
It went well. I actually got I'll talk more about it because I know I played like a couple games. I logged in a lot of time with Judgment, the game Judgment. But
Nice.
We'll talk about that later.
We will.
Yeah, I'm curious about that one because, like, really the Yakuza, the most recent Yakuza game, where they kind of changed up the gameplay. That was the first one I've played. So.
Oh, like a dragon, right?
Yeah, like a dragon. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the most different one out of all of them.
Oh, that hit Madonna song, Like a Dragon. Like a dragon.
Breathing fire for the very first time. Like a dragon. Attacking tanks. That Matthew McConaughey is piloting. You know.
All right. Saw enough Lexus commercials to tell you what, guys. We were Now, one of the shows my wife and I watched together is Dancing with the Stars. It's a very fun show.
Oh, is it?
It is fun. It's fun.
Right.
It's not as good. Tom Bergeron left the show last year. Not as good, right? Aaron Andrews left. Not as good. Tyra Banks is a host now. She has some questionable fashion choices for being a fashion model. I'm just going to throw that out there.
What does she know about dancing?
Nothing, I'm sure.
Okay.
So, but anyways, it's
I've heard a lot of people aren't watching it because of her.
yeah,
honestly,
she's
they just can't stand her.
I can't stand her either. We usually fast forward because like we don't stay up late enough to watch it live, so we'll watch it the next day, and we usually fast forward through the parts that she's in. So, anyways, what were we talking about? Oh,
We're talking about the show. You were watching it, TV.
I saw the same damn Jay-Z Beyonce commercial probably 15 times. 15 times. And it's not like a 15-second YouTube ad or anything. This is a full-blown minute commercial for Tiffany's jewelry. And let me tell you, most people sitting at home watching Dancing with the Stars probably can't afford Tiffany's jewelry, especially the stuff that Beyonce and Jay-Z were wearing.
Yeah.
So,
It's nice to dream, I guess.
it is.
Well, and honestly, like the majority of, like you always hear about it now, where a lot of millennials and stuff aren't even buying diamonds because a lot of us have realized that it's fucking pointless. And that's like gold. Like gold is seriously one of the most ugly, disgusting looking colors, and I can't stand anything gold, yet it's the most expensive. I just like.
What did gold do to you as a kid, bro?
I just hate the color of gold. It's so
hate
ugly.
the color of gold. Why is that so offensive to you?
I don't know.
Bro.
It violated me.
Did gold touch you inappropriately?
Yeah.
Show Stoy on his Tifa doll where the where the
Show me
gold
on the
touched
Tifa
you.
doll. Show me on the Tifa doll here where the gold man touched you.
Right under the eyes and
Right
down
under
by your.
there.
Oh,
Yep.
poor Jesse. Poor Jesse.
Speaking of gold, guys. Speaking of gold, this is Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast, part of the Boss Rush Network, where each and every week we come together with our friends from around the internet to talk about everything we love about Xbox, including news, rumors, Game Pass, and your questions. You can email the show at arsenalxpodcast@gmail.com or leave a comment on the latest video episode. If you're listening on iTunes, please leave us 5 stars and a nice review. Join our Discord. Follow us on Twitter at Boss Rush Network, and you can find all of our shows on bossrush.net. We're going to jump in to what we've been playing. Stoy.
Yes.
Stoy. We're going to go your way first. What are you playing? Tell us about I Am Fish. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. What are you?
I don't want to talk about that game again.
What are you?
You're bringing up trauma.
I don't want to.
Just
right here is where I Am Fish violated me. Anyway, no, I downloaded Sable, and after an hour and a half, I deleted it.
Yeah.
That game was fine. I knew once I finished my playthrough of it, I was never going to play it again.
What was it fine though? I feel like it's not fine. I feel like it's less than fine.
Well, okay, the premise of the game. Like, have you played it, Corey? It sounds like you played it.
I've played a little bit of it, not enough to like make a full judgment on it, but I have to play through all of it because I'm doing a thing with friend of show Colonel Panic on it, and it's just.
Oh, good luck, man.
It's rough.
So I would say got an hour and a half into it. I got out of my small village to start my little pilgrimage, so to speak, of the game. So basically, like you're the sand people in Star Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you are the sand people because everyone's wearing masks that look like the sand people, and you are in this small, tiny little village, and you have to go on this pilgrimage or something like that to find yourself or whatever. I've heard this trope before many times over, but it's got this like kind of pencil art design, and when the colors are out, the colors are pretty damn amazing. But the majority of this game is not played with color. Like it's this weird like sepia tone, black and white, grayish looking color palette, which is like, I understand it's got a day and night cycle, but it seems like this game is played mostly at night. Anyway, it's all text based. There's a story, there's dialogue. It was just too boring. It was too boring. It didn't hook me. It didn't have this is why you're leaving the village, or this is why you're going on your pilgrimage, or this is your end goal. There's no like overall like, here's what's happening in the world around you. There is a little bit of mystery because there's like derelict spaceships all over the place, whatever. So that lends itself to the mystery. But I don't know. It's just like it was just boring. Like it didn't hook me. It didn't even intrigue me in the first like hour and a half. And I played a while. Like I said, I tried, and I was like, I'm never gonna play this ever again. I just deleted it.
Yeah.
I played it when it was in beta, or like during when they had all the demos out and stuff. You basically could play the whole beginning of the game, and then I just was like, I wasn't really enjoying it, and there was some clunkiness to it, and I thought, well, maybe when the full game comes out, a lot of this will be fixed. Now some of the
clunkiness is still there,
dude. Yeah. The thing that bothers me the most. Sorry, Jesse, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's all right.
But the thing that bothers me the most is like, there's like this weird frame rate issue. It's not that the frame rate slows down, but it almost like it stutters in a way that makes you feel like it like rewound itself like 10 frames at some point.
Yeah,
and it's like I can't.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's almost on purpose. I wasn't sure though, like, because like I could see it trying to be on purpose, but at the same time, it just does not look natural. And like the mechanics of that bike thing, that speeder thing that you're riding, that felt really clunky too. Like it is almost digging into the ground and kind of not really going fast enough.
No, you get the new bike, because you end up building your new bike, and you give it a name because the machine speaks to you or something, and that's faster, significantly faster than the bike that you had in the beginning, because that thing was a piece of trash. But it's got the same clunkiness. If anything, it's actually more clunkier because you're moving faster now. So like trying to turn on that thing, like all of a sudden you start spinning out of control, and it's like I just want to turn left, bro. Like why are you spinning like crazy? So, but it's a very desolate. I get what they're going for with atmosphere. It's very desolate, but it's just I think the minimal art style is not helping it be like really good looking for me. Where it's like, wow, that's beautiful. Wow, that's beautiful. Like it's just eh.
Yeah, normally if you go for like an art style like that, you just have some kind of like vibrant colors that keep you interested and stuff. But it's just so basic in every single way that it really is hard to get into it. Because who knows? There might be an amazing story there, but it's such a slug trying to get to that.
Well, it's really difficult. It's one of the kind of tenets of storytelling. It's like you want to set up the world that you're in, and this didn't do. There is a level of mystery. It's like, well, if you keep playing the game, you'll find out more about the world or find out more about the story, and that's all fine. But you gotta throw me little kernels. You gotta be like, ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. You got to be like that to me, like, like little hints to tell me like what's happening, what's going on, or instead of just like typical conversations of arguing with some stupid ass little kid that I just want this part, and the kid's like, I hid it, good luck finding it, haha, and that stupid kid. Anyway, so yeah, it was like, that's one of the nice things about Game Pass is you can try it. If it's not your thing, you can delete it, and no harm, no foul.
Mm-hmm.
And I just deleted it. I was like, I'm not gonna play this game again.
There's a few games on Game Pass lately that I would have been severely disappointed if I paid for them. Right?
Yeah, like Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. Oof, I'm glad I did not pay for that.
Dude, remember how fun those original games were on like PS2, Xbox, GameCube? And then like this one was just like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? What?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious to see if they fixed any of it. It has such a good that game has such a good premise, but it was painful to play. It was painful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like physically painful.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I jumped to Scarlet Nexus.
Ooh, tell me.
And what you have to understand about this game is that it is very, very, there's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of characters, and they all got something to say. So I would say 70% of my first 3 hours, I played a significant amount. I played about like 3 hours. The first 3 hours, 75% of that was dialogue, and 25% of it is combat. And it kind of pissed me off at first because I was like, man, another dialogue, another cutscene. Come on, gameplay. But all of a sudden, something started to shift where all of a sudden I'm like, these are actually really well written, very good characters. And you kind of start to, they all have like their different little personalities, their own little different curiosities. So it's really cool. I mean, the combat is good. Like it's very reminiscent of Nier, where it's like third person action. You encounter like small little batches of enemies. And you got to be careful. You got to be a little bit methodical. It's not necessarily like a hack and slash. It's like, God, what do I mean, it's like, but it's not Dark Souls either.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got the difficulty of it. It's kind of in its own. It's kind of in its own.
It's like its
own genre or something like that.
Yeah, it's almost like a Diablo-esque more. It looks like, right? Like, I mean, like a
that could be, because you're revisiting a lot of the same locations, and you're fighting a lot of the same enemies. Like, you'll be running around for a while. There'll be little bits of dialogue in between battles, and then you got to go through a battle. And the battle system, I'm playing as Kasane, because you can pick two characters. Okay. You can pick as Yuito and Kasane. And I picked Kasane because she's got, she attacks enemies with like 20 blades. She just like throws out, and one of her special abilities is psychokinesis. So like those blades are floating.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, I think what makes it a little bit feel a little bit different is it's not like in my playthrough so far, or like what I've been playing of it, like, and I do need to get back to this game because normally this kind of game is not for me. But this game just did so many things impressively, and even things that I normally hate in games, like you said, the dialogue and all that stuff. But I've actually been enjoying getting to know these characters. But like, it doesn't focus too much on like combos like you would in a fighting game, where it's more about juggling your abilities. And I think that's what's a little bit different from normally these kind of games. I feel like, like try to do combos like your Bayonetas, and they, that's all based around combos more than it is about using all different kinds of abilities to kind of chain together attacks. Yeah,
and depending on what the meat and bones of the combat in this is the party and who you bring with you. So, for example, everybody that you're with, you're part of these like super soldier groups, where you all have these special abilities. So like Kasane has this ability of like telekinesis. So like you can actually like pick things up. You can pick up objects in the environment and like throw them at your enemies as part of your attack, which is really cool. But like you could couple a lot of abilities with your teammates. So for example, you can have a teammate with lightning abilities, electrokinesis or something like that, and then your attacks can be electrically charged. If you say, for example, grab a telekinesis structure that dumps water on your enemy, and then all of a sudden you end up syncing with your partner with electrokinesis, and now all your attacks are lightning, and you're just banging down the enemy's life bar from there. Or you get them, or if they're like oil based enemies, you have a pyrokinesis, pyrotechnic type person. You chain your combos together or your attacks together. Now it's like you're doing double the damage. So that's where a lot of the kind of combat as it gets going, that's when it starts to kind of become more fun, as opposed to the beginning where it was just like basic attacks, whatever. But there's a lot to learn as you kind of get into it, but it's not like hugely difficult, or like, it's like the tutorials they give you. It's like almost every battle it starts with a tutorial, but it's like it's just basic stuff. Like, it's not like, oh wow, I got to remember these crazy button combinations or these crazy little button configurations to remember how to do things. No, it's actually pretty simple. But ultimately, like I said, I was a little bit put off by the amount of dialogue, but all these characters in there are really well written, I think, well acted. Kyoka is my favorite character right now. She's kind of the mother hen of the group of my platoon, so to speak, and she's really nice. She's always like, hey, I just care about everybody. I want everybody to get along. And Shinden, who's an asshole, he's just a dick just to be a dick. He's like, I'm better than everybody here. I had to work hard to get here, and what are you guys? You guys are a bunch of chumps. Like, shut up, Shinden. You asshole.
You always got to have that character, and this is very anime. This
for
game
sure.
Is very
Kasane is kind of that way too, because like who are you guys playing as?
I'm playing as the main. I picked the guy character,
Yuito?
so I'm in the other team.
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
So I'm in the other team, but you do, like, you probably interact with my team occasionally. I interact with the people from yours as well occasionally.
Kasane interacts with Yuito a lot, because in my storyline, like, Naomi, who's Kasane's sister, kind of has a crush on Yuito. So Kasane's like, well, I got to make sure this guy's up to snuff. So I got to start asking him questions about, like, who are you? What kind of man you are? And this and that, whatever. But Kasane is kind of a bitch where she's just like, I don't care about anything. I don't like anybody. Like, she goes after Kyoka, her supervisor, and says, hey, can you treat me like a piece of shit? Okay? Stop treating me nicely. And, like, she doesn't say it like that, but that's kind of what she alludes to. And Kyoka's like, what? Why should I treat you like that? I want to treat you nicely. I want to help you. And she's like, no, I don't want you to help me. I want you to treat me like an equal or someone worse. All right. God. Stop being such a bitch.
Wow.
Yeah, there's definitely, I'm sure it's all building up towards some storyline, some backstory to why she's that way, and like you have in your typical.
Yeah, I imagine she has some deep-seated trauma, or there's a reason why she is this way, and it's you got to get to that point. When you get to that point, I talked about this with Laron a couple weeks ago about Shion from Tales of Arise. She's kind of that way, very standoffish. Doesn't want to get close to anybody. Just want to be friends with her. Just, I'm here to do a job. That's it. It's like, okay, kind of a bitch, but there's probably a good reason. So
yeah, I hope a lot of people are picking this game up and trying it on Game Pass, because that game was a day one purchase for me. Like, it just went against everything that I normally would be interested in, but something about it was just really, really fascinating to me, and I'm glad that I bought it.
Yeah, I didn't purchase it. I was like, I had every intention of doing so. I was like, I'm just gonna wait. Pat on our podcast really enjoyed it. He had good things to say about it, and I was like, I'll pick it up. And then all of a sudden, I see this drops on Game Pass, and I was like, oh, sweet, like, perfect. Like, it was once that announced, I went to my Xbox and I just downloaded it right away. So yeah,
that's awesome. I'm glad you're playing it, giving it a shot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I knew I would enjoy the game. It's just to what level. I mean, I don't know yet. So far, I'm really invested in the characters. But yeah, so if you don't mind dialogue, we're talking a lot of dialogue. You know, so if you're a fan of Tales games, you'll be a fan of this.
Mm-hmm. And there's romancing and stuff like that, and characters in it and stuff like that. It seems like because like you can pick like once there's like a main base that you stay at early on, like
the bonding experiences.
Yeah, where you can go on dates or walk around or sit down and have dinner with people or whatever, whatever they're doing. But it's like I said, it was funny because I'm like, I know this is like something I normally would never have interest in, but I was like so excited for this game. I think what really did it for me is Xbox really giving them a chance to do a deep dive into this game before it came out, and the people who made the game just seemed really cool, and just like they really had a lot of passion for making this game, and I just wanted to be supportive of that, and and Xbox kind of standing behind it. So
Jesse, you are a man of high caliber. If only I could be half the man you are. But yeah, no, I know Xbox talked about being more committed to Japanese developers and the Japanese audience, and I think this was a smart move, timed very well, especially since Tokyo Game Show was this past weekend. So
it was a good announcement for that too, like tying it into Tokyo Game Show. And I don't know, it seems like Bandai Namco is doing a lot of they're almost kind of filling like a AA space. It's like in between AA and AAA, right? With Tales, kind of seems like it fits that, although like I know it's a big game and everything, but I don't know. I was thinking a lot about AA games and how we kind of don't really have any, and like Embracer Group is like one of the only publishers who's really taking on that AA space with Darksiders and maybe Saints Row, although the new one looks kind of like it's
Devolver Digital kind of goes in that route. You got like Shadow Warrior and
yeah, that's true too. I always think of Devolver as kind of like the crazy indie people, but yeah, they do kind of fill that AA space a little bit too. So
yeah, for sure.
But it's nice to see games like Scarlet Nexus and Tales and stuff exist in that. Maybe it's not like a $200 million game, but it's still out there doing its thing.
Well, I mean, if it hooks you, like I said, I mean, this game did a really good job kind of getting me to really like the characters. Is everybody going to get that same experience? Maybe not, but to me, characters are what make a good story. You could have a really kind of basic story of just like blah blah, so and so evil demon trying to invade the world, whatever. Same trope I've heard multiple times. But if the characters are good, well written, make me care about them, like that's what sells a game for me.
Yeah. And those animations of your like comboing those special ability attacks are so amazing.
Oh like, yeah, Kasani's got the one where it's like the special move where it's like you can kind of telekinesis lift them up, and then she kind of like grabs it like a rope and then she slams them down. Bro, it's good shit. Good shit.
Yeah. So. And like when you could have just like vehicles and shit just come out of nowhere and like smash them over the head.
Yeah, no, it's definitely really good. But otherwise, I mean, I played Judgment. I played Steel Assault on the Nintendo Switch. That was good. So that's what I played this week.
Nice. Jesse, what did you play? Anything interesting, fun, weird?
I mean, kind of. Obviously, like I played the some more of the Halo beta stuff, and then my typical grinding out the battle pass on Fortnite. But the only other game that I really picked up this week and tried some of the something new was the Mighty Goose. So like it's a lot of fun. Like it's essentially like a goofy Mega Man game in some ways, like a Mega Man or like a Metroid almost kind of game, but you're just this goose with like a robotic or like a blaster on his arm that can upgrade when you pick up the different, like the different shot. It's, like your typical shoot 'em up, like sideways scrolling shoot 'em up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Steel Assault is
thing.
kind of that way too. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to see like this subgenre is still like kind of popular.
I mean, a good shoot 'em up is always a lot of fun. Like it, they're really hard to screw up. Honestly, like I still need to get that. What is it? The Freedom Finger game.
Oh yeah,
where it's just a big middle finger flying through shooting. Like I wanted to get that when it came out, but I forgot it because it just looks hilarious. But yeah, so this game is it's very much like trying to be goofy and like it does the mechanics and everything really well. The shooting and stuff, it's your typical though, like when you're doing your regular just your character attacks, you can only shoot either up or forward, or down, and if you shoot down, then you can keep yourself bouncing in the air to maneuver around attacks, because it's got your typical patterns of things flying towards you, and then you can either shoot them out of the way or maneuver around them and stuff like that. And it's pretty basic. It's not massively difficult. So far, like I'm only on like the 4th or 5th level. But yeah, I mean, so far I'm enjoying it. I've picked it up a couple of times this weekend, and just kind of, when I just wanted something fun to do and not really have to think too hard. It was a really good game for that, or like a good game to listen to or play while you're listening to podcasts or something. But yeah, that's mostly what I've been playing though this weekend. I'll be honest, I didn't play a whole lot this week, so.
Okay. God, it seemed like it took up a lot of time compared to you.
I mean,
well, the only other thing I just wanted to touch on really quick, and I don't know if either of you guys had watched Squid Game at all on Netflix.
I heard it's weird.
I finished that more recently, but yeah, like I didn't even honestly watch anything much this week. Normally I would do a lot of watching, but I just kind of was the only thing I really paid attention to this week was the whole stuff going on with Britney Spears and how that seems like it's finally gonna be over.
It's not, because Dancing with the Stars next week is Britney week. They all have to dance to a different Britney song.
Well, no, I'm just saying the conservatorship.
I know what you mean. I was just
yeah.
I was
like this
jerk.
But no, like I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of stuff about her because of everything happening. And
Hashtag free Britney.
Yeah. So. But yeah, that's
Britney.
been my week.
Nice. Well, Jesse, like you, I haven't really played much because I've been working a lot. And every time I get a free second, I'm like, I should probably take a nap or, bathe my child or feed it or, make sure it doesn't fall down some stairs or something. So, but I did play a little bit of the Halo Infinite big team battle stuff. I got to tell you, man, every time I play Halo Infinite, it feels better. Like, it feels better and better every time I play it. I have a lot of confidence in this multiplayer. And, like, I feel like even if the campaign turns out the way that Halo 5 did, or even, Halo 4-ish levels, which, again, I'm going to go on record again and say I liked Halo 4's campaign. I liked it a lot.
I'm going on record to say I liked Halo 5's campaign.
I liked playing Halo 5's campaign. I still don't know what happened. I played through it 3 times. So, but even if the campaign goes that route, like, I still think that Halo is going to just be a massive juggernaut on Xbox. And I don't know if you guys saw the Digital Foundry video on Halo Infinite, but even on Xbox One X, it runs at a clean 60 frames a second at 1440p.
Wow, that's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, so this game is
getting it to run 60 frames a second past 1080p is like, damn.
Yeah,
that's just gonna be overheating.
Yeah, so it's cool. It plays like a dream. It plays like I played it at 1440p 120 on my TV, and it's just like, man, smooth. It is smooth like butter on a hot steamy roll right out of the oven.
I do like hot steamy rolls out of the oven.
Yeah. But like the weapons feel good. Like it just feels good. You know how sometimes you just sink into a game and you're like, oh yeah.
Are you using the grappling hook a lot?
I mean, I'm not using it a lot because I'm not used to that mechanic, but when I do use it, I'm like, oh yeah, this thing exists. I'm gonna just pull everything towards me. And like,
I know I've been reading it's been kind of divisive amongst the community because like you get some people that are embracing it, and you got the purists that are just like, well, whatever. It's just another. Yeah.
It's gonna be that thing. It's gonna be one of those mechanics where if you don't embrace it, you're just gonna get slaughtered.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like the building in Fortnite. I feel like, or if you don't get good at it at some point, or at least halfway decent, you're just gonna get slaughtered.
So. Or Splitgate. People weren't using the portals right away in that game either. And then once people kind of warmed up to it, then they really started using it more often. So, yeah, I think that's the thing is, and like I've been trying to pick it up and use it myself, as much as I could. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not really great at using it yet either. But
yeah, it's fun. I like it a lot. So I played a little bit of that. I've also been playing this game on GamePass called Untitled, which I think I forget what show I talked about it. It might have been Boss Rush. I talked about it a little bit. But it's like I don't know if you guys played Crosscode at all. It's like a mix between Crosscode and Hyper Light Drifter. It is so much fun. I've played about 30 minutes of it. I haven't played that much. I just wanted to play it because it looked awesome. It's available on Switch and Game Pass. I don't know if it's on PlayStation or not, but it is. Graphically, it's awesome. The music is cool. The sound effects from the weapons feels really good. Like the monster design is actually really cool. It's really, really cool. You play as this girl, and she gets, I want to say she gets some kind of weird powers from touching a crystal, and her girlfriend disappears, and you're kind of like searching for her girlfriend. At least that's what I got from the early moments of the game, but it's so cool. I highly recommend it, especially if you have Game Pass or, if you want to play it on the go. It is on Switch, so check it out. But that's kind of all I've been playing. No Destiny this week, guys. Write that down.
Are you guys not like recording this week?
We are. It's just we're hitting that end of the seasonal story arc, because like the first 7 weeks of a season are the seasonal story arc, and then this season is 6 months long instead of 3 because they delayed the Witch Queen. So but yeah, we're like the Halloween event is coming up, and we're going to check out the haunted lost sectors instead of the haunted forest. Thank God they got rid of the haunted forest. Oh my God, haunted forest is awful. For anybody who played Destiny the last couple of years, you know what I'm talking about.
Take your word for it on that. Yeah.
But that's coming up. But the big event for Destiny this season is the Bungie 30th anniversary event, and they still haven't announced everything for it. But there's Halo stuff involved. So one of the cosmetics for Titans is a needle or shoulder pad, where like the shoulder pad just has the purple spikes sticking out from the needler. Looks super cool. One of the event's exotic weapons is rumored to be the Halo 1 Magnum.
Sick.
So yeah, they're also bringing in a new dungeon. So we're just kind of waiting on that. This is kind of like the downtime, I would say. So Yeah, no Destiny this week. Feels weird.
Does it feel good though?
Honestly, kinda. I actually got to do other things a little bit. I mean, like, when you run a Destiny show, it kind of feels like a full-time job trying to keep up with that game. And it has its pros and its cons, but, you know, now I actually played other things and it felt weird playing other things, especially going to Halo from Destiny. And it's like, oh man, this is like...
I was going to say, that's got to be way different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I say that just because, like, when I, you know, like, get into the whole thing of you know, knocking out the battle pass and Fortnite, dude, by the time I finish it, I'm so done with that game.
Yeah.
And I do not want to play another single second of it because it just takes so much to get that done.
Right.
But
right. Well, speaking of games, guys. Speaking of Xbox was at Tokyo Game Show this year. Big presence. Felt like bigger than normal, right? So we're gonna jump into the news. Tokyo Game Show 2021 recap. We're on on Xbox Wire, kind of recapping this. So if you wanna follow along, we're gonna kind of go through some of the things they talked about. Cloud celebration with Japanese Minecraft creators. They did a cool little thing with Minecraft and the creators over in Japan. It was cool. They revealed the Forza Horizon 5 PC specs. So if you're playing on PC, you can...
Can I just say, going back to Minecraft, that probably out of all the acquisitions that Microsoft has made in the last, like, couple years, Minecraft was probably the best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bethesda was good. But Minecraft was probably, at the time,
the smartest acquisition they could have made.
Smartest and the best use of their money, because the amount of things that they're doing with Minecraft as a whole is just amazing.
It's just cool what they're doing, right? Like, it's just, you know, they've really... I feel like they've really created something where, like, yeah, okay, Minecraft, you go in, you create things, whatever, but they've really done a lot of expansion on the idea and really made that community, like, because remember when they bought Minecraft, everybody was like, oh, Minecraft's dead because nobody wants to be held down by Microsoft or whatever, but they've really done a good job of, like, embracing the community and making it, showing off what the community can really do with it.
Yeah, very community friendly. And like we're going to talk about it later in our episode, where they're actually using that game or the Minecraft engine for, like, job interviews at Microsoft, where it's especially for people that just don't perform well at interviews. It's like, okay, let's put them in kind of these Minecraft little game modes to see how well they do in team building atmospheres or leadership opportunities or problem solving. Like, and it's like going to a job interview and playing a video game, playing Minecraft. Like,
Yeah.
It's amazing to think, like, that's where we're going right now.
That'd be really cool if my job interview was in Minecraft.
It'd be pretty sick if my job interview was like that.
Yeah.
Well, and they, you know, and, like, not to mention all the cool stuff that they added to it, where people were getting a chance to learn about different stuff, and, you know, like, they had I played the Marine, the one that was, like, about the marine life and stuff, where you kind of got to go through and there was different kinds of fish and like different things that you got to learn about, and, like, the different outfits and things you'd wear to go scuba diving, and, like, there's some really interesting stuff in there. I honestly, I wouldn't mind doing some of that stuff more, but yeah, I mean, you have people, like, trying to recreate the actual entire Earth, like, like, make it one for one inside of Minecraft, and, like,
That's just wild.
Yeah, it's crazy the stuff that, you know, like, people are able to do in that game.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Cool stuff from Minecraft. They talked a lot about bringing cool games to Game Pass, right? Scarlet Nexus was a big one that we talked about earlier. I feel like that was probably one of the biggest announcements to come from Tokyo Game Show. Was that it was
for sure.
what was that game? That AI game, Sonium Vials, Mighty Goose, and then they announced that the Final Fantasy Origin demo was coming to Xbox this week, and I just downloaded it because I think I want to play it a little bit this week and maybe talk about it on next week's show.
Are you talking that action one? The
one that the Ninja Gaiden team is making, or the Neo team?
Right,
yeah. So
I'm here to kill chaos.
yeah, chaos. Where's chaos? I'm here to kill chaos.
Because this update is supposed to be coming out, I think they're updating the demo, and I think they definitely said there's significantly less mention of chaos in this demo. So, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, they Bethesda announced a full Japanese localization of Starfield, which was cool. It's the biggest translation project in Bethesda's history, incorporating over 300 actors and over 150,000 lines of dialogue.
That's what Microsoft money gives you.
Yeah.
That's what Microsoft money gives you, because ordinarily I don't think Bethesda would have done that. But now that they got that Microsoft money, it's like, all right, we'll do that.
Got to tell you, Microsoft, we're for sale. If you need a podcast, if you need to replace Major Nelson,
right?
we're for sale.
You want the greatest Corey up there telling you why Xbox is the best system to play on right now. Corey's your guy.
Me. Pick me.
And I'm just going to be your hype man in the background and be like, yo.
No, you guys are coming with me.
Move in, now move out. Hands up, now hands down.
I hate you.
Last time, sorry.
No, it's not. I feel like it's coming at least 2 more times.
No, I mean, there's so many other different lyrics that he's got, so I'll come up with something.
So many more bangers.
Oh, yeah.
They also confirmed that Redfall is getting full language localization support, also coming to Xbox and PC in 2022 for in Japan. Phil Spencer talked to Shinji Mikami about Tango Gameworks and some of the games that they're working on. Also kind of confirmed that there's an unannounced project going on over there. After,
Evil Dead 3.
What?
At least I think it's Evil Dead 3.
Evil Dead? You mean Evil Within?
Evil Within, that's what I meant, yeah.
Could be Evil Dead 3.
Oh.
Evil Dead 3 is just a video game now.
Yeah. Because they confirmed that the director of Evil Within 2 is working on a new unannounced project. So it's like, Evil Within 3
I
would
hope
be
it's
nice.
that. I feel like people really like that series, and I feel like when they announced Ghostwire Tokyo, as much as people like new IP, they were kind of disappointed that it wasn't Evil Within 3.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, I actually, that's going to be a game I'm going to pick up this week, because I mean, I have it. I played maybe a couple hours of it, and then I just put it away. So since it's October and it's Spooky Games Month, I'm going to play Evil Within 2 this week.
I don't do spooky games.
You don't do spooky games?
I don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Sorry. Disappoint a lot of people, I know. But I don't.
That's okay. It's fine. I'll play the spooky games for you.
Thanks. You and Jesse can play them for me and tell me how they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like, if I had my choice, that's all I would play is just I need to play those the Evil Within games. I played a chunk of the first one, and then I just kind of dropped off of it, not because I didn't like it or anything, but I just never got back to it because I own the first one.
Yeah, it's interesting how they were developed, because the first one was more linear based, like more akin to Resident Evil 4, which Shinji Mikami was obviously key in developing Resident Evil 4. And then Evil Within 2 came out, and it was more like Silent Hill, kind of like open world type of, atmosphere, and just a lot of fog and a lot of like crazy grotesque monsters. It's like, obviously he's, using his influences to the nth degree.
Mm-hmm. I know I'd love those games, because I just love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I said horror games ultimately are my favorite genre.
They also announced that Xbox Cloud Gaming was launching in Japan, Australia, Brazil, and Mexico, and that they're hoping that's how they gain a foothold in Japan, right? Because obviously Japan hasn't really bought Xbox historically. Although I think the Xbox Series consoles are doing way better than the last couple generations over there. So, but they've also talked about their experimenting and experiencing some things with ID at Xbox teams from the Asia region, right? So, including Japan and Korea. That's where we got Mighty Goose from, and Unsold and the Eternal Return was showed off, which was some kind of strange looking game. So overall,
Eternal Return is like an anime XCOM.
Yeah. So
like it's like, all right, cool,
neat.
Yeah. This isn't the first time Microsoft has tried to kind of double down on trying to nail a Japanese audience, because they tried doing that during the 360 era, where all of a sudden they started having like a ton of JRPGs, like Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon, Tales of Vesperia. That was Xbox exclusive for a very long time, up until I think just this current generation. So I know I'm skipping a bunch of other our JRPG exclusives, but Microsoft has been trying for quite a while.
Eternal Sonata was exclusive for a while.
That was the other one. Yep.
Although it did come to PS3 later.
Infinite Undiscovery.
Yep.
Oh, that was.
What was the other one? What was the other one that was the Last Remnant? I think was Xbox exclusive for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they had the marketing on Final Fantasy. What?
Those were solid. I thought those were solid games. Infinite Undiscovery was kind of hokey and pretty corny, but Last Remnant was really good.
Also
Blue Dragon.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Yeah.
Lost Odyssey is the best Final Fantasy game nobody's probably ever played.
I loved the hell out of that game.
I love Lost Odyssey, and they set it up for a sequel, and we never got one.
Never got one. Yeah, that makes me mad.
Dude, the ending of that game where she gets sucked through. Spoilers for Lost Odyssey, I guess, if you've never played it.
Yeah.
By the way, almost 10 years old. If you didn't play it, spoilers. Skip ahead. She got sucked through the portal, and they totally set it up for a sequel. They're. Anyways,
you know what? It's backwards compatible, isn't it?
It is. It was free for a long time.
Yeah.
So, Lost Odyssey. If you like JRPGs and you have an Xbox, please buy the game.
Yes.
Because Mistwalker is now making iPhone games. Because you didn't buy Lost Odyssey.
It's your fault.
Or The Last Story on Wii. You jerks.
Also I bought The Last Story on the Wii.
What?
I bought that one.
So do I. I have the art book and everything.
Oh yeah, I got that extra edition one anyway. So yeah, but yeah, so I think now with I was assuming when we talked about the whole couple episodes ago, we were talking about what their acquisition was going to be. I was hoping it was going to be some sort of Japanese developer, or it was going to be Sega or something. I know.
I thought they were going to announce some sort of big partnership, at least with Sega, or bringing more Atlas games to Xbox, or even buying someone like a small Japanese studio or something.
Yeah, but didn't look like we got that this time around.
Maybe they're saving it for the XO event this year. Which is where in London? Is it in London this year? Is that what we decided?
We decided that?
Did we make that up? Did I make that up? Yes, we're a team, Stoy. If I say something, it is a we. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So, overall.
Yeah, but
Oh, go ahead, Jesse.
I was just gonna say, I think part of the thing with them doing better in Japan and stuff like that is I feel like the last two consoles, they didn't really sell in Japan right away. Especially Xbox One didn't start selling over there until a year after it came out. It was like a year and a half until they finally even got the chance to buy one if they wanted. And when you got another console out, you're not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna wait a year and a half when I could just get a PS5 or 4 now, you know. So yeah, that helped them a lot because it was pretty shortly after the Series X came out that they had already surpassed any Xbox One sale numbers in Japan, like right away off the bat. So yeah, they're definitely selling way better there.
Yeah. Plus, like, I think a lot of people, we all talk about the Series X and how great it is. I think a lot of people underestimate the Series S. Right? Like that is a really nice little box. I play it.
Yeah,
I play it a lot.
I'm thinking about getting one myself just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Just to have it. Like,
yeah,
I know that's like kind of like, you know, seems kind of stupid to buy two of the same system.
It's not
have
stupid.
It in your house, but
trust me,
but
I have
I don't
both.
care what people think.
Listen, Stoy, let me tell you how stupid it is. I got it. I have a Series X in the living room and a Series S in my office. And let me tell you, not having to move and unplug everything and just, you know, having it in a space where I work and then I'm like, oh, I'm tired of my desk. So I go sit on the couch, turn on another box. It's very nice.
Sick.
I'm thinking about buying another one for the
I'm
bedroom.
in that one. Your wife cool with that?
We won't tell her.
I don't care.
I don't care.
I pay taxes in this house. This is my house. Do what I want.
America.
This is America. I can put an Xbox in the bedroom. I'm gonna put an Xbox in the bathroom. So when I take a dump, I'll play some Halo. Yeah, brother.
My dumps are always in 4K.
4K, 60 frames a second. I tell you what.
My dumps are at 120 frames a second. Smooth.
Ooh, I don't have 120 frames a second dumps in my house.
Oh, God.
Anyway. So, yeah, otherwise, pretty decent showing of Xbox stuff at Tokyo Game Show. They made it a priority, and I think they delivered on a lot of what they wanted.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I can't wait to see what else they have coming this year. So, speaking of what's coming this year, guys, the Game Awards are coming up in December. But the rumor
December
is...
9th.
Yeah, the rumor is that Hellblade 2 is being planned to be re-revealed at the Game Awards this year.
Hopefully with some gameplay instead of just a really cool CGI trailer.
Yeah, the trailer was cool, though.
Yeah, it was.
It's cool. This is from Pure Xbox. With E3 and Gamescom out of the way, what's next? Why, the Game Awards, of course. The show has been confirmed to be airing on December 9th and will be taking place as an in-person event at the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles. If it's at the Microsoft Theater, you should think Microsoft should have a presence there, right?
You think?
The possible appearance was claimed by Jeff Grubb on the most recent episode of Dividing Duke podcast. A discussion arose about how Xbox could be gearing up for some big announcements during the show, which Grubb agreed with and said he'd heard plans of Hellblade 2 being shown. Quote, I think you're probably right. I think Hellblade 2 is kind of the plan as well, but we'll see if that actually happens. They were thinking about doing the thing that they had after E3 with Paris. They were thinking about putting that in the show, but we're like, no, that's too much for you. Too much for you. Stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. No,
it doesn't.
That's too much for you stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll just save that. Yeah.
We'll just save that. Then we'll do something later in the year, probably the Game Awards, and that's going to be the plan. We'll see. Those plans could change. So I would really like to see what Hellblade 2 is. I've heard all kinds of rumors. I don't know if any of them are true. It could be an expansion of the ideas of the first game. It could also be, I've also heard that it's kind of like an open world-ish kind of game with dungeons where you kind of move through dimensions and kind of move through things kind of like Ratchet and Clank. I've heard that kind of stuff. I've also heard that this isn't a direct sequel to the first game because it has to do with her psychosis. Story, I think maybe we talked about this at one point.
Yeah, we talked about this once before because I think we debated whether or not this is a continuation or if it's some sort of like prequel or in a different not timeline, but like some of her other experiences with her psychosis.
Yeah, like Senua isn't exactly this character. She's like a real person in a mental hospital or something, and this is just a different strand of her mental illness, right?
Well, yeah, because in the first game they alluded to her father would lock her up like in a pit underneath the house and just let her sit there in darkness. That was a key gameplay feature that she talked about a lot or she referenced in the first game. So I wonder if that's going to have some play with it, like, you know, like deep inside her memories or deep inside her psychosis, like she, I don't know, creates these big fantasy worlds or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I can't speak from experience, but you know, it's just what it is.
Yeah, it's almost like Assassin's Creed where she's putting herself into these characters in a different kind of state.
Is like, yeah, in a more serious and less ridiculous way, probably, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Assassin's Creed really does that pretty well, I would say. Whether you like how the new games are going or not, I feel like they've really done a good job of really transporting you into those worlds, and I feel like that's actually a really good comparison, Jesse.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing I just was kind of worried about, because that initial CGI trailer, while it looked cool, it kind of gave me the wrong impression of, is this going to be just like a melee combat driven style game where it's like they're going to ditch those, you know, conventions of dealing with psychosis and dealing with hyperactive disorders and, you know, ADHD and all this stuff, and or like obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, and are they going to ditch all that in favor of just like have it just be like a fun combat game? Like I was really hoping they wouldn't go that route, but everything I've read, it sounds like they're going to still continue with those premise of like, we want it to be the focal point, we want it to be kind of like more educational as opposed to just a fun romp.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they could possibly have their cake and eat it too, almost, especially with like a Microsoft.
Well, the combat was fun. The combat was fun in the first.
It was, but I want it to be a little bit more varied, I think. A little bit, especially if they're going to make this game a bigger game. If they do make it bigger, I don't know if they are or not. Let's be clear. Don't know if they are or not. But if they do make it a bigger game, I hope the combat's a little bit more varied.
Right. Especially if you're going to play it for more than 8 hours.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think we have to worry too much about losing any of that, because they, like, from their diary stuff, that they seem very adamant on like that being a main focus for everything they do. Like they're trying to use like the technology and stuff to get you know, help people understand things and you know, and stuff like that better when it comes to mental health. So yeah, that seems to be like their core you know, like thing that they're trying to focus on is that stuff. So yeah, I mean, like I could see them like doing more with the combat, but also, like, you know, still making it very much about the mental, you know, health stuff.
Yeah.
But,
What do you?
I'm excited.
What do you guys think we get at the Game Awards? Do you think we'll get like a story trailer? Do you think we'll actually get like a gameplay kind of trailer or breakdown or whatever?
I'm thinking both. I mean, it's got to be. We have to have something. It's been 2 years since we last saw it.
Yeah.
And I know they were at that time. They were probably in very early pre-production phase.
I would say, right? 3 years, or is it still 2?
No, I think it was 2, because that was when the Series X was announced, and then, or not announced, but at least showcased.
Yeah.
Like, these are the games that are coming out in the Series X. So that was a big one that they showcased at the Game Awards. So yeah, I think it was the Game Awards. Yeah, but
yeah, I think we could see both, but I do think that they are going to try to showcase a little bit of like what the console is able to do with the game, because, you know, like, that's the thing, is there's still a lot of people who, you know, regardless of whether it's true or not, like, a lot of people are still like saying, oh, we haven't seen anything, you know, being done that differently or that proves that these consoles are able to do anything. Yeah,
either system, like the PS5 and the Series X, there really hasn't been that big groundbreaking, like, this is the main reason why you need this system.
Yeah.
You know.
But and like, I was gonna talk about this a little bit. We didn't really. I didn't really follow up with Corey. I don't know, Corey, if you want me to just talk about that whole chip thing like that's going on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like with the, well, yeah. So okay, so like this is partially why we haven't really seen a whole lot, is because the RDNA2 versions of chips that are in the PS5 and the Series X and the Series S as well. Like these chips that are in them are very similar to what's in the new graphics cards that just came out, and there's some AMD based, or the DirectX 12 Ultimate upgrades that are coming later, or like later this year or possibly next year. But they're going to actually be able to up the performance of those chips by 4 times, so 400%, and like allow to do the upscaling and stuff of like textures and all of that way quicker and with less power and stuff like that. And so there's still a lot of stuff that's inside these consoles that hasn't even really been, what would you call
Unchained?
it? Like, yeah, unchained or whatever yet.
Yeah.
So its abilities right now, like what it's doing right now, isn't really a whole lot, but that's because there's still a lot that needs to be tweaked and everything. But like the PS5, everyone points to the Ratchet and Clank, the going through the portals and stuff like that, as and then like I would say for Series X, it was the medium of being able to render have the game running twice at the same time on one screen. I mean, you can't do that without a lot of power to be able to run the game twice. So yeah, I mean, like other than those, yeah, we really haven't gotten a whole lot. But I think once Unreal Engine 5 is kind of like out and people have been able to work on that quite a bit and get used to that, mixed with these unlocked powers that are still inside the consoles that aren't being used. I mean, I would say probably within the next 2 or 3 years, we'll start to see a major jump in like what the games are doing.
I'm hoping so because I mean, people always ask me like, oh, is it the right time to get a PS5 and a Series X? It's like, not really. Like, there hasn't been anything groundbreaking. Like, yeah, you'll get like a performance boost, like slight performance boost, but it's not like night and day. Like playing Black Flag on a PS3 versus a PS4. That was night and day difference. This time around, playing Valhalla on Xbox One X versus a Xbox Series X, not that much different.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, Jesse. I got a Series X because like I wanted those nice kind of enhancements to the games I already own. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, unless you're a huge fan of like the Medium or Flight Simulator, like there's really no reason still. I mean, even like when the specs that came out for Halo Infinite, like there's really no reason to get a Series X or S yet, unless you just like want to have a new box, or you want those improvements to your old games, or you don't want to wait around and wait for like 1 or 2 minute load times. Like, yeah, those things are all very nice, right? Like, I think the Xbox Series X is the best possible Xbox you could own right now, obviously. Mm-hmm. But, like, if you have an Xbox One X or even an S, like, you're not really missing anything in terms of games yet. Next year, you'll start, right? And
oh, yeah.
You don't know if you're going to miss great games or mediocre games or whatnot, but, like, next year, you're going to get games, but it just depends if those are the games that you want, So.
Yeah, I think I think honestly, the main reason to have a new Xbox is, like to future proof, essentially. Like,
because I imagine we're going to be in this generation for a while. I imagine it's going to be longer than average.
Yeah, I don't think we see a half-step console either for longer than it was on the Xbox One.
I think we're just going to keep
Because
getting.
especially with
I think we're just going to keep getting iterative consoles at this point.
yeah,
Especially from Xbox. Maybe not PlayStation, maybe not Nintendo, right? Although I don't know how Nintendo goes back to making a normal console after the Switch, right? Like I just don't.
Yeah.
But I think Xbox is the one company that's like, we're just going to make iterative consoles and everything's just going to work all the time, and these are the specs for this version, this is the specs for this version, but like, I think this is the point where generations go away with Xbox.
Yeah. Well, and even like Halo Infinite, I think Halo Infinite is going to be a lot more like how Destiny is doing stuff, where you're getting these big expansions to the story, and there just keep on adding story to it, and there never really is a numbered game again after it. Like I think it ends up essentially being that the basically the Master Chief Collection is the like the test subject for having a massive one game that's got all these arcs and all these things inside of the one thing. Like I think that the Master Chief Collection is a bigger part of our future for Halo than we actually realize.
Yeah.
But
I think that,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Jesse. Sorry.
Oh, I was pretty much finished. I was just gonna say, I just think that our future is gonna look a lot more different from now, from here on.
Yeah. Plus, like the way that we talked about this a while ago, Jesse, on the old version of the show, but like Xbox isn't about the console anymore. It's about the games and the experience, and you can play wherever you want, right? Like that's the goal for them, right? Steam, PC, Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass, cloud gaming. They want you to have the choice, right? And I think they are thinking they've been thinking in a new way for a while. And I think that, I think besides like some of the games that they're showing off, I think Sony is kind of showing that they're still stuck in the old way of thinking. And, we talked about it a little bit last week, right? Where like, this is just the business model they've chosen, right? Sony is this old school model where like, okay, you buy the box and you buy the games for the box, and in 6 to 8 years we'll have a new box for you to buy the other games on. And everything from PS4 up moves with you, but like other than that, there's no smart delivery, there's no they've done a decent job of patching older games to run better on PlayStation 5, but they're not like PlayStation 5 versions, right? So I just think Microsoft is thinking in a different way, and it's really working out for them.
Yeah, and like I've said before too, like this is doing a lot for game preservation as well, without thinking about it as much, but they really are helping. And then, but at that point though, it's just a matter of making sure that that's always updated and they're not deleting or getting rid of games that are on the servers or whatever to buy the store, which I don't think they will, but who knows. So
yeah. All right, we're going to move on to our last story. Xbox has a new statistics page being tested that can even track your game time. Some games do this already, I've noticed, but other games, sometimes I want to go check to see how long I've played in Destiny, and guess what? It doesn't tell you. It's very upsetting. You have to go to time wasted in Destiny to find out how many hours you've wasted in Destiny.
I was gonna say, this has been like, especially like the time played, like Nintendo Switch and has done that very openly. Like you can even check to see your friends. Like I think my brother has like 540 hours on YouTube, for crying out loud. Like, bro, you can play video games on your Switch. You know that, right?
There are other things to watch YouTube on. So this is from Game Informer. Ever want to know how long you've been jamming on a game? Xbox users are one step closer to readily available information as part of the console user interface. This feature is still in testing, but certain Xbox insiders can use the feature with a new update, which is still in the testing phase.
I mean, I kind of like this because a lot of times, like I want to know, like, statistically, like, obviously how long I've played games, or like I always like that feature that games have where it's like, okay, this is how long you've played this game before. It's like, have I wasted a lot of time? I'll always check to see like the websites of just like, or what game length or something like that, whatever, where it's like, oh, an average person will beat this game in 8 hours. So it's like, okay, I'll compare that with my time and stuff. But I imagine a lot of people will get into issues of like sharing this data with others.
Yeah.
So if you're playing like a game like Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball on your Xbox, you may not want to have that information shared with your friends.
Well, and
or maybe you do.
You know what? I don't care. I have Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball 3 for my Xbox. I paid $70 for that thing because I had to import that shit here.
You know what?
I'm proud of it.
I want to know.
I don't care.
I want to know how long Stoy's been playing butt bouncing bounce off or whatever.
Is that a real game? Butt bouncing bounce off?
In Dead or Alive 3, Extreme 3?
Oh,
the
yeah.
one where they're standing on the thing and then they like butt bounce each other off.
Bounce each other off. Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like bumper balls on Mario Party, but
you know, I just learned something. I didn't know you were a man of culture, sir.
I am.
So, okay.
Very cultured.
Very cultured.
That's what they say.
Something today. I learned something today. It would be interesting to see those statistics,
Yeah, we kind of got something similar to this. Remember when they had the thing where you could at the end of the year or whatever, you could see what games you played the most, and
where they send you that email.
Yep.
Yeah. So part of me wonders if that was some kind of beta form of this, like what they're testing, like because essentially they had to have something like this in your on your Xbox or something reading what you're doing to have that information to make that list thing anyway. So
yeah, it's kind of like what Spotify does, where at the end of the year they give you like, oh, here are all the genres that you've played, and you've discovered like 20 new artists, and you've played this artist the most or whatever. It'd be interesting to see, like, I'd be curious to see, this is the button that you've used most in all your games, or you've had like so many hours playing online versus offline. Like, it'd be kind of interesting to see that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would, yeah.
So maybe I can just share everybody how long I've played Destiny with my friends.
You can just tell us.
Do you want me to tell you the time wasted in Destiny? Let's figure it out.
How long? Okay.
I was gonna say, do you think you've passed your Destiny 1 time played?
No.
By now?
No, just because
really?
I don't have the amount of time. I don't have that kind of time to play anymore.
Okay.
But let's see. Here we go.
But how long would you say though Destiny 1 was out until 2 started?
How long?
That's what I'm wondering.
Wait, what?
Because I'm just wondering if like you may not have did it all in compact time period, but you may have played more just over an extended period, because Destiny 2 has been out longer than Destiny 1 wasn't it? Isn't it? By now?
Yeah, about. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, that's why. Okay. Well, shoot. Hold on. Why? Is this not my name in Destiny? That's my name, right?
That's not my name.
Oh my gosh.
That's not my name.
I hate that.
Oh, there I am. Okay.
Sorry.
I had to wait for it to load my name instead of just hitting enter. Oh God. Okay, so Destiny 1 on Xbox, I played 167 hours and 38 minutes. Destiny 1 on PlayStation. Oh God. I don't know if I want to reveal this number on air. Do I want to reveal it? Okay.
We're all waiting. We're all waiting.
1,481 hours and 39 minutes on PlayStation 4.
Jeez.
Lord. Good for you, man. Good for you.
Destiny 2.
You know what? You enjoyed it. I imagine you enjoyed every minute.
That's questionable.
In the beginning, definitely not.
Yeah.
When that first came out.
No, it's more like the people with your raid team. You have that one guy that's like super serious about everything, and it doesn't get fun.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 on PlayStation, I've played 179 hours and 57 minutes, and then on Xbox, I played 316 hours and 56 minutes. So, yeah, I played a lot of Destiny. It's all right.
Yeah, I don't.
It's all right.
I'm just trying to think if there's a game that I've played that would. Well, if I added up all the hours that I've spent on playing Call of Duty games in the past, it would probably be a lot because that time when you were playing Destiny and you didn't really have anything that you had to worry about as much, and didn't have to, Yeah, I would have spent a lot of time playing Call of Duty games in the past. I used to just do that for like 10 hours at a time.
Yeah,
every day.
I mean, we're at different points in our lives, guys. Just can't sit and play the games all the time.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
It'd be cool though. Speaking of games all
like
the
that.
time, Stoy.
Yes.
It's time for the segment. Pass it on. Game Pass announcements and what's coming to Game Pass this week. Stoy, what's coming to Game Pass?
I only know of one so far, and it's Phoenix Point. Behemoth Edition. That's coming out. That actually came out already. Came out on Friday. But this one is kind of like an XCOM style sci-fi game. I think I talked about this last week. But as far as I know, Microsoft likes to kind of shadow drop games where they're just like, bam, here you go.
It's true.
Here's the Game Pass. The next big one that we're expecting is Back for Blood, which comes out next week.
I already have it pre-installed or whatever they call it, preloaded.
Yeah, that's actually a really good feature. If you go on the Game Pass page on your UI, you can actually pre-install a lot of games right now. The games that are like months in advance, like out. So it'll kind of save the download time of like when you're ready to play it the day it comes out.
You can also do it from the Game Pass app where it says coming soon. You click on it, Back for Blood. Pre-install 2, you click it, and it says, which console? Do I want it on Corey's Xbox Series X, Series S, or One X?
Man, technology sure is neat, isn't it?
It's neato.
It's pretty neat. But we did get a confirmation that, The Good Life, I don't know if you heard about this game by Swery.
I've heard of it, but I don't remember.
Apparently, it's like a small town like game where, you're in this small town, you're a normal human walking around, and apparently at night, everybody turns into a cat. And this game was was announced in 2017. It was crowdfunded, and it failed at first, but it came back and then I think was successful the second time around. And I think Microsoft kind of had a little bit of support because Swery, this developer, is very well known for Deadly Premonition. So this game is slated to come out October 15th, and it's obviously coming to Game Pass. So if you like weird shit, this would be probably a game for you.
Neat.
There's another game too. I seen something about that was supposed to be coming. Drift Breaker. It's like
Rift Breaker,
Rift Breaker with like it's like some kind of a building type. I don't know what kind you'd call. I forget what.
I think that. Like the one. Yeah, that one's coming out. That one's coming out the week after that. We'll talk about that later, Jesse.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jesse.
Not gonna have anything to talk about next week because I'll be like, well, Jesse already blew the lid on this whole Rift Breaker game, so golly. So, but yeah, definitely the big one. Like I said, the only other one really that obviously came out a couple days ago, besides Scarlet Nexus AI, the Somnium Files, which got announced too as well. That was made by the developers of the Zero Escape games. So visual novel based game, and Mighty Goose, obviously, which Jesse talked about a lot.
Mighty Goose.
Yeah.
Mighty Goose. Download it. Good stuff.
All right.
So
Well,
that's what's on Game Pass.
it's a lot of good things on Game Pass. Game Pass is still every time I open that Game Pass page, it's overwhelming how many games are there.
Yeah, and it seems like there's always something new that just randomly dropped on
I mean, like,
Yeah, that's what I noticed the last few months. Like the last few months, all of a sudden, you just log on there every day and you see like maybe they just announced something, maybe they just dropped something, and be like, bam, here you go. Like it's so hard to keep up. Sometimes it's
listen to
not
these
complaining.
games that were recently added, right? Like I'm just on the recently added page, right? Phoenix Point, okay, right? We just talked about Marvel's Avengers. I mean, say what you will about
was
that
the
game.
one I forgot. I knew I forgot one.
Say what you will about that
Marvel's
game.
Avengers.
That game is that it's an Avengers. It's the Avengers, right? Like it's a big get. Unsighted, which I think is cool. Astria Ascending is a cool indie game. Scarlet Nexus, pretty big game from Bandai Namco. Sable, Subnautica Below Zero, Lost Words, Dandy Ace, which is like I've heard it's kind of like a weird card-based Hades game, which some people seem to like. Mighty Goose, I Am Fish, Skatebird, Flynn, which I think, Jesse, you talked about a couple weeks ago.
That's still sitting on my queue. I have it. I downloaded it and I still haven't played it yet.
The Artful Escape. So, like, just huge lineup of games. And then, you go to the coming soon section, if I can find it on here. Maybe.
I clicked
Back for Blood, Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, Rift Breaker, Stalker 2. Like, these are all games that are coming soon that you can just pre-install right now. Right now. So, Game Pass. Crazy big deal. So.
Yeah.
You know what else is a big deal?
This is the messed up thing. I am going to be physically buying Forza Horizon 5.
You should if you want to play it.
If I want to play it after 4 years, and that's kind of it's cool. Like, okay, you could download it for free, but I'm gonna buy it because, like, God forbid something happens or something, and like, because I had to do this once before. I had to get a whole new profile when I got my Xbox One X or something like that. So I lost a lot of games I downloaded previously because of this. So if that ever happened to me again, Forza Horizon 5 would be gone for me, which would suck. So that's why I'm buying a physical copy of this, like, right off the bat. And yes, I buy physical copies.
Physical. Let's get physical. Speaking of big deals, guys, our topic of the show, Stoy brought it up in our chat. Said, hey, we should talk about this. I said, yes, we should. How has Xbox been the best so far at being more inclusive to disabled gamers, and what it's doing to improve on being the leader on that front? Stoy, do you want to take the lead on this one since you brought it up? Cool.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting that they came out with that big accessibility controller. It looks like a hot plate, like two hot plates together, and a bunch of buttons on the side, and the controller itself, like, you look at it and you're like, that's not a controller. But when you look at some of the, kind of like physical deformities a lot of disabled people have, it's almost perfect because you get these two big discs that serve as kind of joysticks, so to speak, and they're touch sensitive. So it's like you move around and stuff like that, and you can map the sensitivities and all these other things. Like, Xbox has really been on the forefront of kind of paving the way for being inclusive for disabled people. Even like button mapping, for example, like you can do that in in the Xbox user interface, you go to the control settings, and you can button map to say like, I don't like using the A button for things, so like I want A to be X, or I don't want to use my right triggers, but I want my triggers to be here or something like that. So you can automatically map them to be whatever they want. So whatever game you want to play as. So like some people like racing games where they hit one of the face buttons as opposed to a trigger button. So you could automatically map it to where gas is always A and brake is always X, so to speak. So you can map that directly. So that's kind of one of the things that Xbox has done recently, but or in the past. But recently they came out with this accessibility showcase where they had this woman come out who she was actually, I didn't realize she was deaf. She actually had people like on stage sign language with her, because she was talking like, you know, whatever, like this is what's going on, whatever. But like anytime she interviewed someone was doing sign language with them as they talk. And it was kind of interesting. I didn't realize this was a thing, but when she would introduce people, she would say, "Hey, tell us what you look like." And I'm watching this, I'm like, what? But, you know, the blind community is definitely a community that plays games. So a lot of people are like, oh, how do I put a kind of like a physical description of this person? So like people are like, hey, my name is so and so. I'm blonde. I'm a white girl, white female. I'm wearing a red blazer and a blue jeans. You know, so it's like, all right, that's a new experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys watched the showcase, but it was very prominent.
I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like you said that they've been ahead on this accessibility thing probably since they really invested in that controller and all the different attachments you can use for that controller. You can use a Wii nunchuck, for God's sakes, on that thing.
Yeah.
And every time I see one of those commercials, it's like, it's really, I like have to force back like being emotional, because it's like they're like, these are real kids that like just want to play games, you know, like they just want to play games like everybody else, you know, and just because they have to do it a little bit differently than everybody else doesn't mean like they can't enjoy these games. And like, it's just been really cool to watch and see. And I know they want to do more with this. They want to make accessibility more prominent in what they do at Xbox, and man, it's just, it's really, go ahead.
No, it is really cool, and it's kind of hard to get emotional because us as like able-bodied people,
Mm-hmm.
we don't think about these things.
No,
like we just sit down and we play games, and the controller works the way it works, and our fingers, you know, our hands work the way they work. Like that's how it is. But it's hard to kind of imagine that there's people out there that, I mean, you know, I sometimes think to myself like, man, if I lost one of my hands, like in a freak accident or something like that, or whatever, or something were to happen, like, man, that would crush me. Like I couldn't play games normally. So like, would there be a future for me to play games if I were to have lost my hand or lost a few fingers or whatever? Like it's crazy to think about. So one of the things that they talked about was co-pilot mode. And in the showcase, they talked about this woman who had, I think, cerebral palsy. So she had limited use of her hands, and she really wanted to play a game like Minecraft. So it was like literally two people were playing as one character. Say, for example, one person controls movement while the other one controls looking around. And it's kind of reminiscent of people that would play keyboard and mouse games, where like you know you'd have fun with it by someone would be using the keyboard and the other person would be using the mouse, so to speak. So that's what that kind of reminds me of. But it's such a cool feature to be like, you know, playing with your brother or playing with your sister or playing with a friend, of just like, hey, I'm gonna do this, you do that, and it's like that person's still getting the gameplay experience that they deserve, with a little bit of help from a friend or a family member. I mean, that was such an impressive feature that I was like, man, that's such a cool idea that I can't believe I never thought would be valuable.
It's impressive. Like I believe he streams on Facebook, but I've watched Nomad and a couple of, you know, like streamers who are disabled who literally they'll play like Warzone or whatever, you know, like Call of Duty and stuff, and they're literally controlling everything using like their mouth and like you know, like, you know, they have some functionalities in other parts of their body that they'll map buttons to certain you know, rigs that they can do stuff with, you know, whatever they can, but the majority of the controlling is done with their mouth. And it's impressive to watch, and just the fact that like you just seeing how well they're up there competing with people who are playing with their, you know, their hands and stuff, you know, and just it's impressive. It really is just crazy how people, you know, like if you're passionate enough about something, you know, and you'll find a way, and it's just awesome, like seeing people do figuring stuff out and just doing it however they can, you know, and having to have that passion, and stuff like that.
There's a lot of companies out there that are working diligently. I mean, there's like controller companies that are working out there diligently to try to make more inclusive controllers for people with varying disabilities. So it's good that this is a passion for a lot of people. And you know, admittedly, it's not something I think about regularly. Like, it's like, you know, I sit down and just pick up the standard controller, and you know, I don't think about these kind of things. So, but you know, one of the other things, I mean, you know, disability comes in varying forms, and they have like so many different accessibility options in the Microsoft user interface. Like, say, for example, even just like changing the light of your controller. Like, if you're playing at night and you don't want that big bright light on your controller, you can elect to turn it off or dim it. It's the same with the Microsoft like Series X, like the light that, or the One X even too. The light that pops up with the Microsoft logo, you can actually disable that or dim that as well. You can dim the lighting and the display. So like you can have it be kind of sepia tone or grayed out or whatever. There's so many different setting options that they talked about in this community showcase that it's like, man, I didn't realize that. Like there were so many things. You just pop into the settings menus and just kind of go through all the different options.
Yeah, it's, well, just, you know, like thinking back to like earlier when games, like you had 3 options in the menu. It was like audio, you know, like save in some games or whatever, or exit, and like you know, like, and now it's like colorblind mode, and there's this and there's that, and you can change, you know, this, and you can change the just the sound level of just the talking, or just the music, or just the, you know, like yeah, it's, I mean, it's awesome, because yeah, like especially if you're, you know, if you're hard of hearing, you can turn everything else down and just focus on the, you know, the dialogue and stuff like that. And you know, and yeah, it's crazy. And if I remember correctly, doesn't that the accessibility controller, didn't they say that would work with PS4 and stuff too? I think
they said said the other consoles, if they would be more than willing to allow them to use it if they had a patch or whatever. Yeah. But it doesn't seem like, I mean, I know Nintendo definitely doesn't want to do it because they just don't want other people making stuff for them, I guess. But
not surprising.
But it doesn't seem like PlayStation's allowing it either. So
okay.
I know you can use it on PC and stuff though. So.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I know it's not a big population of people, so maybe, you know, those Nintendo and Sony don't want to develop the resources for that. But obviously, it's a big thing with Microsoft. We talked about that with hiring developers for various positions within the system, but hiring, you know, maybe people that have like severe social anxiety issues or severe, like, you know, like obviously can't speak in public or whatever. So they developed Minecraft to be used as a kind of like a job recruiting tool, so to speak. So it's like, it's a place to showcase your job skills versus trying to showcase your interviewing skills, which is kind of, like, okay, job skills in terms of problem solving, in terms of teamwork, in terms of leadership roles, community helping, and, teamwork abilities. So that's where they're using video games for job interviews. That's pretty amazing. That Microsoft is kind of paving the way for this.
Yeah, definitely is a really cool way to it's a cool way to show off people's skills, because like I know all of us have been in job interviews, right, where you're sitting there and you're like, man, I know I can just do this thing if I can just show you, or be a part of like some sort of routine and show you like, this is what I can do, because it's so hard to like explain to somebody how you do it, right? It's, at least for me, it's like easier to just throw me in and I can do it, and I can show you that I can do it, right? And I think that Minecraft thing is such a cool, they get it, like you said, Stoy, some people just have trouble speaking, like explaining their skill set or something. So
yeah. And yeah, when you think about it, it's like you're in most job interviews, you're answering basic standard questions. Name a time where you had to deal with a difficult coworker. Name a time where you really had to, bump up your ego, or I don't know, whatever, it's stupid stuff. But one of the big games that are really working on inclusivity for people of varied disabilities is actually Halo Infinite. Like looking at all the different options that Halo Infinite has in terms of, changing the subtitles, changing the color, changing the menu, even just having a linear, like a navigation feature where like you got a narrator that actually tells you as you're cycling through what it is you're kind of going over, and even like a movement assisted steering feature. So like we all know driving the Warthog can be kind of a pain in the ass. So, it may be, if you're not very articulate with your thumbs or fingers, like it actually has like a movement assistant steering mode where it's like, we're going to help you along through it. But admittedly, I may just use that, and I'm able to not have to.
We're getting old though, so we need those accessibility things too sometimes.
These fingers don't work like they used to.
No.
This brought me up to, I've always had a very, very hard time with multiplayer games that utilize red. I don't see reds very well. Reds and greens. It's like I think it's protanopia or something like that, whatever. But it's like a color deficiency where, like, if I'm playing a game and I see enemies highlighted in red, it's almost like I don't see them at all. So I've always struggled with trying to be competitive, because it's like I'm getting shot and I don't know where these enemies are coming from. Thankfully, a lot of games lately over the past few years have made it where, you could change the color, like within the game settings. And Halo's making it set to where, like, you could change it to whatever color you want. You want your enemies to highlight green? You want your enemies to highlight yellow? You want your enemies to highlight blue even? Like, do whatever you want.
It's smart. I remember, I think Gears 5 had that also at some point. Or they didn't have it at launch, but I think they patched it in. Because a lot of these games are patching in colorblind modes too. I know Destiny has this big, huge colorblind list of, like, here's the colors that maybe you can't see very well, and they alter the game's color palette based on what colors you can't see, which is cool. And I know Gears had that at some point after launch too. So I think that's really cool that they're doing that, especially because, like, in Halo Infinite, it's not red versus blue anymore, right? You get to customize your Spartan and see your Spartan, but, like, your teammates are highlighted in blue and the enemy's highlighted in red. Well, if you can change that to be a better kind of fit for what you can see and what you can't, I think that goes a long way.
Oh yeah, it definitely does, for sure. Most notably, a lot of times in racing games, I use the kind of like the, there's like the racing line, and I use it only for corners. So like when I need to brake, the racing line pops up to tell me, like, hey, brake at this point of the turn. When it flashes red, that's when it's telling me to brake. A lot of times I don't see that. Brake too late or early. So F1 2021 actually gave you the ability to change the color to where it was like, okay, when you're ready to brake, you could change it to purple. And that improved my ability to kind of brake at the right time, like dramatically. Even just like playing multiplayer games where you could change the color of the enemies, changing it from red to yellow, it improved my ability to detect enemies much better. So, and it really is a game changer when you think about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Some of the other stuff that they talked about is actually, so like, say for example, like you're looking for a game, but like you obviously know some games, you know, like if you're not able-bodied or disabled, you know, you want to play a game that is kind of geared toward like your control scheme or what you can do. You can actually search through different criteria to say like, hey, accessibility options, like what games have a lot of accessibility options. So you can actually search through the media library or the Microsoft store to see like these games may be better suited for someone of your abilities or of your abilities.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because a lot of times it's like you don't know what kind of accessibility options are out there. You don't know that, you know, Grounded, for example, is one of those games that has this arachnophobia mode.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are deathly afraid of spiders. So you could literally change the arachnophobia mode down to 0 to where all the spiders are practically invisible, you know, in the game, so it doesn't trigger those emotions.
Or like the bigger ones, they just turn into like these white balls with some eyeballs, right? Like they're just like, they look like snowmen almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is funny.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, there's so many other different features and so many other different settings that, you know, you could change. That is like, it's so groundbreaking that I really don't see any other system manufacturer doing anything to this effect.
Mm-mm. No, I mean, I've seen specific games do it. Like I know The Last of Us Part 2 has like a huge list for accessibility, but it's not a system based thing. It's a game based thing. And I think it's really cool that, I mean, it's just another step that Microsoft is taking in the direction of like making it easier for any type of consumer to come in and say, look, we offer this. It's when you buy the box, it just comes with the box, right? Like it's just another nice feature that Xbox offers, right? Along with smart delivery, along with Game Pass, although I know you have to pay for Game Pass, but like, it just feels like they're making so many consumer friendly moves. This is such a good move.
Yeah.
Well, and like, you know, and this kind of like made me think about something, and you know, and maybe that's why in some ways, like, you know, Xbox, I'm sure, would like to have those experiences like the, you know, like what the PS5 controller has and all that. But if you're not able to even use that controller, you know, what does that matter if that is now baked into a game or something? I mean, I'm sure you can make some peripherals that would still allow people that you know, disabled, to still have those experiences. But like, yeah, like it just seems like Microsoft is kind of like, you know, we want to keep the controller and just make it, you know, make it so everyone can experience it no matter what, you know, like what kind of situation you're in.
And that's the kind of uphill climb that a lot of these disabled communities need to kind of go through, is that, you know, the norm is just the standard controller, what we're used to. But there's a lot of companies out there. There's actually ablegamers.org is actually a charity that works directly with game developers and with controller manufacturers to help them kind of, you know, hey, these are ways you can kind of change your game settings to include colorblind gamers or to include deaf gamers, or like these are control features that you could use to develop good controllers for people that have, like, you know, limb deformities or stuff like that, whatever. or even just inclusive, like in when you create your character, you create your Spartan in Halo Infinite, like you can actually have it to be like where you can have a prosthetic arm or prosthetic leg that they work with the Warfighters Initiative.
Yeah, and like you can do it from like the wrist up, from the elbow up, and like you can do different types of robotic kind of attachments. It's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I meant Warfighter Engage, not Warfighter Initiative, but I was kind of close. But yeah, just to even like make those like, because obviously a lot of Army veterans play Halo. It's been a staple for like last 20 years. So to kind of feel like inclusive, like, hey, I'm kind of playing as a character that I identify with because he has that same, disability that I have. I think kind of goes a long way.
Yeah, sure does. So
yeah.
Microsoft's making all the right moves. I think that they're doing a lot of great things with this, and I hope that the other two major players in this space really take a look at what they're doing, because Microsoft at least in this area, are making them look bad. Like, because like Nintendo has a very big reputation of like, we made this game and this is how you're going to play it. It doesn't matter, this is how we want you to play the game. And I mean, Sony is a little bit better than Nintendo.
Harking it back to the Wii and the Wii U, where basically they said,
right,
this is the only way you can play the game, and that's it.
Right. And I mean, Sony's, like I said earlier, Sony's a little bit better, but it's usually a game by game basis and not a system level thing. And they obviously don't offer a controller, right? The way that Microsoft does with, universal attachments or whatever. So,
well, and that's where you gotta, like, I mean, for people that are kind of curious about that, you have to go hunting, because a lot of these companies, there's like controller companies out there. I think Evil Gaming, Evil Controller or something like that, actually makes custom arcade sticks or custom controllers suited for you. Yeah. So, I mean, granted, it's going to cost some money, but you're going to be able to enjoy video games the way custom tailored to you.
Right.
Yeah, and sadly, I mean, there is a little thing you can get that allows you to use like any controller on any console, but then sadly you run the possibility of your like being locked out of your losing your account just because it thinks that you're trying to do something
like you're trying to cheat or something like that.
Yeah. But because there are ways to use the accessible controller with your PS4 or PS5 or whatever, but yeah, it's not legal in a sense, which it's just
and that's where I think working with a reputable game company like a controller company, I think will help, because I imagine they know how to circumvent that, or they know how to kind of do it correctly, as opposed to just like plugging in a modded controller, then getting kicked out of Warzone because they think you're cheating.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah,
kudos on Microsoft. I hope they keep it going. I hope they find new ways to get more people to play games, and glad to see this. But
definitely glad to see it.
Yeah, I remember when they kind of first, like announced that controller, like it was just such a cool thing to see, because I mean, there, sadly there's a majority of the people like just, it's just whatever. They don't, it's not really in their mind, but it is really cool to get to see more of this stuff, like happening out in the open, and getting that experience, and so many people who maybe just never thought they would ever be able to play games, and like seeing something like this like finally gave them a chance to look into being able to do actually play games someday. I mean, there's you don't.
Jesse, you and I talked about that game Veil. That came out a while ago. That was specifically tailored for blind gamers. Where the game it's a fully narrated game, and you're using the controller in a normal fashion, but like you're attacking enemies using the controller with echolocation. So like you can hear attacks coming from the front of you or from the right of you, when you have a good pair of headphones on, then you can respond appropriately with the controller. I didn't need that because I don't need a game like that, but it was such a cool way to play a game in a different way. And then imagining yourself as like, man, what would it be like if I was really blind? Like, this is how I would have to play games. Like, it's kind of almost a bit.
Yeah, and like that brings up like, the Dolby Atmos and a lot of these things that are out there to turn your everyday, headset into a 3D, spatial audio device, and not having to go out and buy a 7.1 surround sound to experience that. And that's ultimately making it, as that improves, it gives people who can't hear the ability to be able to have a little bit more spatial awareness in when they can't see that visually,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's been a show, guys. I feel like we did a good job this week of delivering you the news and the games and the accessibility things. Great job, gentlemen. Fantastic job.
Oh, you as well, Corey.
You know what?
Yeah.
Pat yourself on the back.
I can't. My shoulders hurt. I can't. I can't reach.
Virtual pat on the back.
Thanks, Stoy. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all you listeners.
Yeah.
And I appreciate all you listeners of Arsenal X. You can find the show on Tuesday mornings on your podcast service of choice and on YouTube. You can watch us live on Sunday nights on twitch.tv/Boss Rush Network. You can follow us on Twitter @BossRushNetwork. If you have a question, you can join the Discord or email us at arsenalxpodcast@gmail.com. We want your questions. We need your questions because we want you to be involved. Speaking of involved, Stoy, I appreciate your time. Where can we find you?
It's always a pleasure joining you guys. I am on another podcast, obviously the EXP Cast. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @EXP Cast, and we record episodes weekly as well. So
nice. Jesse, I appreciate your time as well. Where can we find you?
Thank you. And you can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS.
Nice.
Sick.
I'm gonna have a shirt that
And
says impact font with a big exclamation point. Sick.
I'll wear that shit every day. I'll wear it every day if you give me that shirt.
I just wanted to say also congratulations, Stephanie, to your Series X. Hopefully she'll be on the show.
No kidding, yeah.
I was gonna ask her to come on tonight, but it was really short notice, so maybe we'll get her on next week.
Yeah.
She's really
Pat helped her with that.
Yeah.
Pat, I think, stumbled upon it, and it was available to him, and he bought it, and then he was like, okay, I know of a couple of people that want to get it, so he chose Stephanie.
Yeah.
So
Staples.
Yeah.
Staples. This week, Staples, like they last night they posted that the Staples stores are supposed to be getting shipments in sometime soon, and it's going to be in stores.
Oh,
only.
wow.
So
that's not the place I would go first, but yeah.
But
wow. Yeah, we'll try to get her on next week. She's been a big boost to the Boss Rush podcast too. So I want to.
For sure.
You can find me. I am Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me hosting the Boss Rush podcast. You can find me hosting Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast, and you can find me on other things here on the Boss Rush Network. I want to thank everybody for watching and/or listening to this here episode. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
I appreciate you.
bye.
Appreciate you.
Appreciation.